اينشتاين بيقول التعليم مفهوش ملل، حب نفسك مكاني هتفقد الامل. ملينا المدرسه ونظام صب وكب، شرح طول الوقت عمل لنا دروب. يا استاذنا عقلي مش سبونج بوب، يشرب المعلومه وبعديها يكب. هنا في نوسكول طلعنا من الدروب، لعب مرح تفاعلات هتعجبك يا بوب.
نوسكول Academy. Simply learn different.
Hello everyone in grade 7, welcome to Nowschool Academy, and I'm Miss Nihal with you. I'm going to teach you English in Mind 2, your syllabus in this term. So let's start today our English session, English in Mind 2, Unit 9. And of course, as you can see on the screen, the name of the unit is called Disaster. So I know that you trying to form the idea or the main theme of the unit. Together, by the end of this session, we have certain objectives. The first objective is analyze an article about disaster, about a certain disaster, explain someone's feeling. You're gonna be able to do this, inshallah, and write a newspaper story about also a certain disaster. So let's get started. Are you ready with me? The tools that we are going to need today are sticky notes, colorful pens, maybe highlighters if you want to highlight something, a pencil of course, notebook, it's an essential thing, and a dictionary because you may look up a word in it or something like that. The most important thing also is a tablet, mobile, or a laptop to scan QR codes that we are going to play games with it. Okay, so let's get started seriously this time. Okay, first of all, we have some keywords that we are going to discuss throughout the whole session. Together, let's read them. I'm going to concern just only the pronunciation of them. I'm not going to explain the meaning right now because we will be subjected to them later, okay? So the first words that we have today is, just repeat after me and pronunciate the word as I'm saying them. Disaster, disaster, earthquake, earthquake, tsunami, tsunami, flood, flood, volcano, volcano, and some important verbs that we may have today also are destroy, destroy, damage, damage, and finally protect, protect. Of course, we are going to be subjected to more words than this, but these are the key words as I write here, okay? Then let's move on to the next thing, and it's playing a game. Yeah, like this guy is saying, Ishada. Yeah, really. Try to know that in every session, we are going to play a lot of games, as I told you. So first of all, pause the video right now and go down to the link below the video or scan this QR code. Go and play the game and come back quickly. So quickly as I'm waiting for you. Don't be late. Hey everyone, where are you? Come back to me. Welcome back after playing the game. Tell me what's your opinion about it. Write down in the comments, please. Okay, but by the way, I followed up with you and you achieved great scores. So you were excellent. Clap your hands for yourselves, please. Okay, dear guys, let's move on to the next point. And here we are going to discuss our lesson or the reading lesson of today. But first of all, I have some questions for you. The first one is, what's meant by a disaster? As written on the screen in front of you. What's meant by a disaster? Can any one of you tell me? Yeah, great. I'm hearing some of you saying, Miss, a disaster is a sudden damage, a kind of catastrophe that causes a great damage or loss. So great. A disaster means something bad, of course, something unfortunate. We don't need to have such thing, okay? May Allah protect us all from this, but we are going to differentiate between two types of disasters today. We have here some natural disasters and other are man-made disasters. So again, what's meant by a man-made disaster? Let's start with it. A man-made disaster is something that is caused by a human action or inaction actually. For example, if a human being has to do a certain action and he doesn't do this, or he can be able to do this, so there may be a disaster happen, okay? Then the man-made disaster, as I told you, is something related to human, made by humans, okay? For example, fires, explosions, accidents, pollution, and of course, the act of terrorism is the catastrophic man-made disaster ever. Of course, it's something truly bad, okay? Let's move on to the natural disaster. Natural disaster is something from its name seen to happen naturally without the interference of any human beings. For example, the earthquakes, the floods, avalanches. You have this disaster, and we are going to say it in detail later on after a few seconds. And then also you may have hurricanes, tsunami waves. Those are all called natural disasters, okay? Let's move on to the next point together. Here you have another game or another kind of activity, but this is not interactive one. So please, you have some photos and some words. Try to match them together. I'll give you just 2 minutes to finish them. Is it good? Okay, let's start now, and I'll wait for your answers. Hurry up, please. You may also write them in a note beside you or in the comments below. It's going to be very, very good thing, okay? Hey everyone, have you finished? Time is over. Let's discuss them together. As I promised you, I will be with you. So here are the answers of such exercise. We have here the first photo matched with the first word, and of course, it's what? Can any one of you tell me what's this? Yeah, this is what I've just said. It's called an avalanche. Avalanche means a mass of ice, snow, or maybe rocks fall down so rapid and so quickly from the mountainside. This is a kind of a natural disaster, and of course it causes great harm and damage, okay? The second one is fire, of course. Fire is actually called a hybrid kind of disaster because it's sometimes considered as a natural disaster, and some other times it's considered as a man-made disaster according to the cause itself or the real cause, okay? Let's move on to the next disaster, which is, what's this? Yeah, it's a volcano. Volcano. Or sometimes, before moving to the other one, sometimes we call it volcanic eruptions. Volcanic eruptions. Because the verb erupt means the volcano emerges from the deep layers of ground, okay? The next one here is nuclear bomb. And it's a very, very devastating and destructive man-made disaster. Nuclear bomb, okay? And of course, as I told you, it's a man-made disaster. The next one is, yeah, great, tsunami. Tsunami is a kind of natural disaster, and we are going to discuss it really in detail later on. Here, this one is earthquake, and it's a sudden movement and quick movement in the ground. Then the last one is flood. Yeah, great, flood, yeah, great, super. Okay, by now let's take a break, pause the video, go and play this game and return back to me so quickly. I'm just waiting for you here.
ولأن العقل السليم في الجسم السليم، خلينا نعمل مع بعض شوية تمارين.
Let's complete the session, dear guys. Okay. By the way, after this, you are supposed to finish page 62 in your student's book. And then let's move on to page 64. So please, dearest students, open your student's book on page 64 and follow with me. Just follow with me. I will not ask you right now to read anything, okay? Just follow with me. This page is discussing the tsunami. As I told you, we are going to discuss it later in detail. So what is the tsunami? The name comes from what? The origin of the word tsunami itself. How is it formed and the causes of it, and where did it happen? Okay, all of these information are written in your books, and I'm just going to discuss them with you and then leave you to read the passage or the reading lesson as you like, okay? After knowing most of the details or even all of them, inshallah. Okay, so first of all, what is a tsunami? Tsunami, of course, is a rare natural disaster. So it's a kind of natural disasters, and it's not very often. It happens rarely, okay? It's a series, a group of, not only one wave, a series of great or giant sea waves or ocean waves that happened due to a natural cause. For example, slides, landslides, heavy rainfall, ice falls, meteors that comes from the sky down into the water, so it has a certain impact on the water. So these are the causes of the tsunami. But the major cause of the tsunami is the earthquake, the deep water or underwater in the ocean floor earthquake. So it causes the waves to move in a rapid way that causes what we call tsunami, okay? Till it reaches the coast or the upper waves layer. You see it? Okay, so again, the tsunami is a series of giant waves. It's a natural disaster. It happens rarely, not very often. And the word tsunami itself has a Japanese origin. Tsunami means harbor waves in the Japanese language. And of course, if you know from before that the Japanese history is full of a lot of events and tsunami events specifically. The historical records had about 150 tsunamis in Japan only, okay? Of course, it happens somewhere else, like in Indonesia, in Hawaii, Alaska, or maybe South America, Central America, many other places that it's written in your book, but the Japanese history records the most devastating tsunamis or water earthquakes, as they call them sometimes, and you have some photos that illustrates this and make this clear, okay? So again, the word tsunami comes from the Japanese origin, harbor wave. That's all I want you to know by here. And I have a certain real life activity that relates this phenomena or scientific term to your real life. Suppose that you are standing right at the sea or an ocean or any waterland and you drop a pebble. You know, the pebble is a small stone. So, of course, there is going to be a certain circular movement in the water that we call ripples, okay? The ripples in the water or the current or the great circular movement, this is what we illustrated by the tsunami phenomena in real, okay? So it's just a simple activity to show you what is the tsunami. Let's move on to the next point. Here we talked about what is the tsunami, the origin of the name, as I told you, the causes, and I told you that the earthquakes are the major causes of the tsunami. And why did it happen? It happened due to the meteors falling into the water, the landslides. And where did it happen? I also just mentioned this. Also, I discussed with you the origin of the word, okay? So here, when you go through the slides, you will find such information in front of you. One great advantage that's offered from Nowschool Academy, that you can replay the video as much as you can, whenever you want and wherever you want. So, if there is a certain information that's dropped from you, whether in a certain activity or game, or during the explanation, you can replay the video to repeat it for yourself and work on yourself to get it clearly. Here, let's move on to another point, which is the These are all illustrations and slides that makes everything clear for you regarding that tsunami, okay? And as I told you, after finishing this, just look at your school book on page 64 because it gives you a simple explanation of what I've just discussed, okay? Okay, dearest guys, we have two important terms that are very important in this story or in this subject, which are tsunami watch stations. These are places or kind of warning systems that are considered as an alert for people to be careful and just to prevent themselves before the killer waves. Of course, there weren't any of these in India in the past, but in Hawaii, there was a tsunami watch that warned people, so the loss was somehow less than expected due to this warning systems, okay? Also, we have something which is called Richter scale. The Richter scale is a device that measures the strength of the earthquake, okay? Again, it's called Richter scale, okay? Okay, dear guys, here is the time to pay attention. So please, this is a very important thing that you are going to know or to extract the main keywords from this reading lesson in your book or maybe from the slides themselves. So let's check the meaning of these words together. The first word that we have is the verb protect. And to protect means to make safe or to keep something safe from a certain harm or injury. And of course, it's a verb. Then we have the difference between the verb damage and destroy. Damage and destroy. Damage actually is a partial loss, partial damage, okay? A partial harm or a partial bad thing happens not completely like destroy, because destroy means to ruin something completely. It's more in effect than the verb damage. You can see the idea now? Okay, let's move on to the adjectives enormous, giant, and huge. Yeah, they are all adjectives that means extremely big. Okay, and you may find them in paragraph A in your textbook. Okay? Then we have the word that I've just mentioned throughout my explanation, ocean floor. The ocean floor means the bottom of the sea or the ocean, the deepest part of the waterland. So it's called what again? It's the ocean floor, and it's in paragraph B in your school book, okay? Here we have the word coast. Coast is the place where lands meet the sea. The water meets the land at the coast. And of course, we have the north coast here in Egypt. If you are from Egypt, or there are a lot of coasts in the world, of course. Then we have the verb rescue. And here we move to page 67 in your student's book. You have a certain story related to someone called John Carter, and a woman rescued him from a great accident. And you're going to read this in detail, as I told you, from school book. But I just want to focus on or highlight some keywords, which is like the verb rescue. And rescue means to save someone's life or to pick someone from a certain danger. Okay, so this is rescue. You have here the word emergency rescue and an example for this word in front of you on the screen. You may check it out. Okay, we have here the verb injure. To injure means to cause harm or to hurt someone, okay? And the adjective from the verb injure is to be injured. So injured means harmed, hurt, or damaged, as this boy is injured in his knees. Then we have the word accident. Accident, of course, is a noun, and it means an unfortunate event that happens unexpectedly or suddenly, okay? And it may be naturally or man-made, as we mentioned from the very beginning of the session, okay? Then we have here a writing exercise in your books on page 67. It asks you to write a story, newspaper story, about a forest fire, and the book is giving you some keywords. From these keywords, is the word or the verb drop a cigarette. And of course, I think that they highlight that the cause of the forest fire here is man-made. So it's not a natural disaster. It's something caused by dropping or caused from dropping a cigarette of someone. And of course, it's a very, very bad action. And I just want to highlight it for you just to say, avoid this, please, in your real life. So if you know someone smoking, so please tell them to stop it right now, okay? So this is the verb drop a cigarette, and this image illustrates the action that may cause great loss and damage, of course. Here we have also some verbs and some keywords that are mentioned in your books, which is the word fire. The word fire comes with it, the verb control fire, not to control the fire, or catch fire. So we can say catch fire, the forest catches fire, or caught fire, or the fire is not controlled, to control the fire, or not to control the fire, okay? And then we have here an everyday English conversation. It's a reading lesson, of course, also in your students' book. And it's in page 66 in your books. As you can see, it's called, so dearest guys, after talking about disasters, whether they are man-made or natural disasters, let's stop at this, and let's talk about something rather how funny, which is a dialogue between some guys, a girl and her friends. Here we are focusing on the everyday language, English language in our everyday life. And this is a dialogue or a reading lesson that the title of it means let's talk about it later, okay? You know the difference between now and later. Later means after a while, okay? So that was a dialogue, as I told you, between a girl called Amy and her friends. There is someone called Joanne, and Joanne is planning something against Amy regarding to a certain contest. It's a small competition. Contest means a small competition, joining a certain band and performing a certain action, okay? Then they have the contest, as I told you, the competition in their band. They want to be separated from her. So Joanne is planning to do this. Amy is feeling nervous, maybe, or she wants to stay alone by herself for a while. And they are discussing these idioms, okay? So the most important after reading this, as I told you, you may look at this on page 66 in your student's book. Read it as much as you can and just try to get or to highlight the idioms from them to be used in your everyday life and to answer the questions related to this. So from this, I'm going to focus on the word or the idiom or the expression of got a point. When you say that someone got a point, means that they have a reasonable point of view. Their point of view makes sense, okay? So they are wise enough, okay? So you've got a point, she has got a point. So that means that they are quite reasonable or quite wise. Also, we have another expression, which is what's up? What's up? It's different from WhatsApp. WhatsApp means it's an informal language, by the way, between friends and guys together, and it may be used every day in our everyday language, and it can be equal in meaning to what are you doing, or what's wrong with you, or what are you having in right now, okay? Doing something, for example, or something like that. So again, it's an informal expression that means or used to ask someone what is he doing or what she is doing, okay? Yeah, this is true. This is true. Yeah, great. So you can alter these expressions, by the way, in a kind of humor. في ايه? Okay, this is equal to what's up. Okay, it's much easier to say it like this, but we are here in English, so we have to combine both terms together. Also, we have another expression, which is sort of. When you say that something, it's a sort of. Yeah, sort of. Sort of means to some extent, okay? Approximately, not much. So, sort of is a degree of expressing a certain feeling, okay? Like this comic says, Muhammad Hinidi is saying, it's sort of opinions, okay? You can read it in a sense of humor. Let's go to another expression, which is reckon. I reckon so. I reckon so means I suppose or guess or estimate. Okay, I guess so. Okay, and you have here Hazal saying his opinion, by the way. Also, we have here some words that will meet you in the dialogue, as I just mentioned them. The word band. Band means a musical group. And the word contest, it's a small competition or performance. And the word rehearsal. Rehearsal means the performances before a certain competition or a certain play or a show or something like that, okay? We've here also the difference between the word nervous and scared. There is a great difference between these two words. Nervous, I think, means before something. I'm nervous about my exams, for example, but I'm scared after seeing something due to a cause, after seeing or after a certain feeling, okay? Also, we have here, that's your turn. Yeah, by the way, this is your turn to look at SpongeBob photo and tell me, is he nervous or scared? Think about it, please, guys, and tell me the answers. No, it's not a surprise. Okay, tell me, you're great students that you are going to tell me the answer. Yeah, great, scared, super students. Excellent, excellent. Clap your hands for yourselves. Okay, dearest students, you're super, super heroes, and I feel that I'm just staying with you, not only giving you a virtual session. Here we have another verb that was mentioned in the dialogue of Amy and her friends, which is get rid of. Get rid of means to remove something away, something that you don't want, remove away, or to set aside someone from your life or your calculations, you know? So here, that was the verb get rid of, okay? Here is also the preposition about, and we have some collocations or prepositional phrases that comes from this or comes with this preposition. We can say nervous about, worried about, talk about, think about. Again, think about, worried about, nervous about, worried about, okay? So what? Okay, it's game time. After all these things and slides, just pause the video, go and have a rest, play this game, and come back to me so soon, as I'm just waiting for you here. Don't be late, dear guys. Amazing, guys. That was awesome. Your results are really, really, really above or beyond my expectations. Okay, great. Welcome back to me. Let's move on to the review time. So please pay attention with me in this. Let's remember together what we have discussed throughout the whole session. From the very beginning, we've just mentioned the disasters, and we talked about what are disasters, whether they are man-made disasters or natural disasters. Example of both kinds, like fires, volcanoes, floods, avalanches, nuclear bombs. Tell me, what are the types that we've just discussed in the session? Tsunami, of course, and we discussed it in more detail. And then we talked about the everyday English language life in the dialogue or the conversation between Amy and her friends. We got some expressions like what's up, you've got a point, let's talk about it later, and I reckon so, and or reckon so. And then we have here something which is so valuable for me, which is the moral values, and try to get used that by the end of each session, we're going to discuss a certain ethical value or moral value that you are asked to apply it in your everyday life as well. It's something related to morals and ethics. Of course, after mentioning the earthquakes and the natural phenomena and disasters, it just came in my mind the idea of عبادة التأمل or التفكر في صنع الله. Okay, so it's in all ways something great to think about Allah and the great differences and sudden changes that may be caused in our world. So we have here some wise sayings, prophet sayings, Quranic verses that focuses on such value or ethical and moral and religious value, by the way, okay? Stretch your backs, take a deep breath, and just smile because we are going to read these together, okay? Okay, dearest guys, just recite after me, please. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بديع السماوات والأرض وإذا قضى أمرا فإنما يقول له كن فيكون. صدق الله العظيم. And we have here another Quranic verse which is أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم تر أن الله أنزل من السماء ماء فسلكه ينابيع في الأرض. صدق الله العظيم. Here this Quranic verse is talking about avalanches, rainfalls, heavy rainfalls. Maybe it's something for good or for our good or something which is a natural disaster. It depends on our deeds, of course. Okay? And it depends on Allah's willing. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ويسبح الرعد بحمده والملائكة من خيفته ويرسل الصواعق فيصيب بها من يشاء وهم يجادلون في الله وهو شديد المحال. صدق الله العظيم. Here are some evidences that Allah creates everything and He's able, of course, to change anything whenever He wills to do so. So please, from now and then, apply عبادة التفكر في صنع الله. Think about the earthquakes, volcanoes, and all the things that we've discussed as they are من صنع الله. Okay? Okay, dearest students, here we come to the homework time. And of course, it's something obligatory. I don't want it to be like stitched like that. No, it's something interesting. And just tell me in the comments, have you enjoyed the session or no? But please do your homework. And I know that you are great students, that you're going to do so. So please do this. Your homework is Students' Book, pages 64, 66, and 67. Just the exercises that I've discussed with you. And that's it. Finally, we come to the preparation for the next session. So please be prepared with this. Please look up these words in the dictionary or online or wherever you want. So please just be prepared next session by knowing just an idea about what is the past simple tense, the passive voice, and how to talk about an imaginary dream. You can tell me by the next session a certain imaginary dream that you have or you had dreamed before. And then it's time to say goodbye. I've enjoyed a lot my time with you. Hope you enjoy this as well. Just tell me in the comments as I told you. Please follow me in the Zoom session to discuss what was difficult with you. And it's time to say goodbye. See you next time. Goodbye.
نتمنى من كل قلبنا الحصة تكون عجبتك، وبنقول لك ما تنساش تحل الكويز اللي في المصادر، وكمان تقيم الحصة تحت في التعليقات. منتظرينك في اللايف في حفظ الله.